Hello guys, how are you doing? My name is Pastor Emily and I live down in Portland, Oregon, and I am so excited to be sharing with you for your little week of worship. I would like to first begin by sharing with you a story. So my senior year of high school, I was in our wind ensemble, our band. I went to Auburn Adventist Academy and we decided to do a tour actually through Canada, and we stopped through, and I think we actually stopped and played at your school. But anyways, we did a huge road trip in Canada. We drove through Vancouver all the way out to Burman, to Banff, all of it. It was so much fun. And one of the places that we went to that really stuck out for me, we went to this really cool park. It was like this challenge course, and I'm sure you guys have probably heard of it. I'm blanking on the name, but I'm sure you guys have heard of it or even been to it. And it's this really cool challenge course game where you hook yourself into the challenge courses and you do all these really cool zip lines and walking across on different ladders, all these different things, and it's super duper cool. And we had a super fun time. And the deal with our band teacher was that you could either have one round for free, right? And it was on the band, right? The wind ensemble would be paying for it. And then when you're done with it, like you were either done or you could pay for a more advanced one. Well, there were a ton of us in this band. And so I was so kind. And I was like, I'm not going to go a second round because I don't want to waste my time or anybody else's time, because we got to get going. We got to get food and we're all going to be super hungry. So I was like, as much as I'd love to go to the challenge advanced one, I am not going to. However, not everyone was thinking that way. And there were a lot of people at the very end, like the very last people to go through, were also like, oh, we also want to do the super long extended challenge course. And I remember I was super upset. And there was no reason for me to be really upset. I think I'd spent a week with these people. I was a senior in high school. I was too cool for school, and and everyone was younger than me, and I was just not having it. And I was actually really upset. And I remember just kind of sitting in the grass waiting for everyone to be like, I am so hungry right now. We could be at the old spaghetti factory right now, which, by the way, the old spaghetti factory in Canada is like way different than the ones in the States. If you guys want to know what the spaghetti factory tastes like, come to the one in the States. Anyways, we were waiting to go to the old spaghetti factory, and then finally, it felt like hours later, they got done. And I remember then we all got in the bus and we were on the way to the old spaghetti factory, and everyone around me was talking, was just super energetic, and I was just so upset. I don't know what was with me, but I was in a mood. Have you guys ever been in a mood before? I'm sure you haven't. I'm sure you guys are all fantastic human beings. I, on the other hand, get into moods, and when I get in a mood, it's not pretty. So I was in a mood. I was looking out the window of the bus, super melodramatic, as one does. And then I remember thinking to myself, like, what if you chose to see what you were thankful for or some positives, in this situation? And I knew that was God, the Holy Spirit, impressing upon me to have some sort of list of gratitude and to be thankful. And so I then began to list out different things that I was thankful for on that trip. So I was like, thankful that we even got to do the challenge course, thankful that we're on this super epic trip in Canada. Oh, Canada. And I just started to list through all these different things about things that I was thankful for and things that I was grateful for. It wasn't even Thanksgiving, guys. This was like in freaking May. So I just started listing all those things, and actually my attitude and mindset started to change as I began to see, oh wait, no, this situation isn't as bad. I'm still upset and I'm still frustrated with people, but I was able to get a clearer perspective. And by me listing out all these different things things that I was thankful for, actually humbled me. And it helps me to be able to get through that bus ride and get to the old spaghetti factory, which we eventually got to. Gratitude is just a wonderful, incredible thing. And it's something that I struggle with a lot. I think a lot of times pride gets in the way for me. Sometimes I'm too busy to be grateful, or sometimes I get into mental funks and You think, oh, everything would be better, and just you, for whatever reason, we really struggle with the concept of gratitude. And I think we only, sometimes we only talk about gratitude one time a year during Thanksgiving. I know your guys' Thanksgiving's in October, something like that. Our US Thanksgiving's coming up in a couple weeks. But I honestly believe that gratitude and having a posture of gratitude is probably one of the greatest things we can do in our walk with God, because it keeps us humble. And I think it also keeps us dependent on Him. And it helps us to realize that everything we have is a gift. Nothing is in our control. Nothing is in our own power. If COVID has taught us anything, is that, in fact, we are in control of nothing, right? We cannot control the future. We can't even control what today is going to bring, right? And everything that we have is a gift. And I think something that COVID has taught me, and something during this whole season, is how important it is for me to be intentional about relying on God and giving thanks to Him for everything I have. Because I think for a while, I kind of took things for granted, right? I took my schedule for granted. I took my education for granted. I took going to church for granted. I took hanging out with people, my friends, all of that for granted. Sorry, if you guys hear some crazy noise, it's because I live in a basement and there's some kids running up around and they have a dog, so it's kind of crazy. So side note. Anyways, but I was taking all of these different things for granted, and COVID has taught me how I think the best way through this pandemic, something that's been super helpful for me, is through gratitude. A passage that I found in the Bible, a passage that's really been encouraging for me, 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 8 and 9, where it says, "We think you ought to know, dear brothers and sisters, about the trouble we went through in the province of Asia. We were crushed and overwhelmed beyond our ability to endure. We thought we would never live through it. In fact, we expected to die. But as a result, we stopped relying on ourselves and learned to rely only on God who raises the dead." I think as we enter into new stages of life, of this COVID life, I think a practice that I think is going to be so helpful for us, it's been helpful for me as I navigated managing life in COVID, and now this kind of weird in-between of we're not in the full lockdown, but we're not fully open yet, this weird thing. I think a posture that we should take as we reconnect with people and as we re-enter into school and to church is this posture of gratitude. Because I never want to forget where I came from. I never want to forget that it's actually God who is giving me life, God who sustains me, God who's given me the gift of education, of being in church, of having friends, of having family. And what this verse tells me is that kind of speaks to our experience in COVID. We were crushed beyond our ability to endure, but as a result, we stopped relying on ourselves and learned to rely on God. So my encouragement for you, I know this isn't this big, huge, profound thing, and I know that you've heard people talk about gratitude before, but my encouragement for you, maybe a few times throughout the day, is to think of the things that you're grateful for. What are things that before the pandemic that you were taking for granted, that now as you're kind of entering back into life again, things that you're grateful for and things that you're thankful for, and notice how the joy of God will flood through you and be able to give you strength. So thank you so much for listening, and maybe someday we'll meet in person. Who knows? Bye.